boys and girls. It's When We Feel Like It O'Clock. I'm Pearloism, and you're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom on the Pearlo Wisdom Show. Live, all by myself, solo. Everybody's so freaking busy with steelflyers.com that they can't come on with me. So I'm doing it all by myself. E-Money's in the house. Go Caps. Welcome, my friends. Thanks for coming in. Best Bet Ed talked earlier. I don't know if he's still doing Picks videos, but he used to do some killer Picks videos, Best Bet Ed. I liked him a lot. So we're going to have lots to talk about today. We're going to go, of course, through all the games and stuff like that. But I think have Pearlo dance for 5 minutes? 5 minutes? I don't know. That's a long time. I love my Pearlo dance, but that's... You know I loves me some Pearlo dance, but that's asking for a lot. Anyways, the big news that's going on in the land right now, I don't know if you guys have heard this. It was, what's his name? The big guy that does 30 for 30. Oh, how come I always forget his name? Maybe because I'm a little jealous of him. Anyways, he's one of the big Canadian guys. Huge, biggest, actually. When he talks, everybody speaks. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's kind of giving this indication that Eichel may be traded. And the more I think about it now with Buffalo, the more I wonder if that's not such a bad idea, to tell you the honest truth. I hate to say, a team like this shouldn't have to reset, but it appears that they do. Again. Just a constant Buffalo reset. But you could get, this team needs depth all over the place. I mean, there's not a position, and they also need heart, and they need it from more than one guy. And I think Eichel right now is the only guy that really has the heart needed to in that lineup. They've tried to bring a couple guys in, like let's go look at their lineup here for the heck of it. Why not? Actually, let's remove this. No. Let's remove this. And we'll try to get window capture going here. Let's try that. See if we can get that going. Can we get it going? Oh, window capture is not working. I don't know why. You can't trade. Who can't trade? They can't trade Hall. Are you talking about Hall? Yeah, they can't trade him for a certain amount of time because he just signed a 1-year deal, but they can trade him. I think actually they can trade him. They can't sign him. They can't sign him long term after giving him a 1-year deal for a certain amount of time. And I wonder what that was in there for, why they did that. It's a way to, maybe it's a way to work the cap. They could work the cap that way. They could say, we'll give you a 1-year deal for like $1 million, and then we'll give you a big deal halfway through the season so we have cap room or something like that. It was a way to circumvent the cap, probably, is a reason why, if that's what you're talking about. But who can't trade? I think Eichel doesn't have a no-trade clause. Bringing it up here now. Jack Eichel. His no trade clause doesn't kick in until 2022-23. So they can trade him. Yeah. What do you mean? Eichel can trade. They can trade Eichel. He doesn't have a no trade clause until. Oh, wait a sec. 20. Yeah, his no trade clause doesn't start until next year. His no trade clause, they can trade Eichel right now to anybody they want. He does at this moment. He doesn't have a no trade clause. That doesn't kick in until 2021-22. Why is my Windows not working? I want to show you that. Why is my window capture not working? Window capture. Okay, window capture. Turn. Now, go here. Go here. Go here. Yes, there we go. Now you can see in the background here, okay? Tell me if you can see this. There we go. Okay, just give it a second here. So tell me if you can see it in the background here. I'll show you where Eichel. There we go. See Eichel. See this? Oh, you probably can't see that, can you? Oh, 2021-22. I'm going to go back to that again, and now it's going to show like this. Okay, if you look here, if you can see it, 2021-22, no movement clause. You see. So he's tradable right now. They can trade him right now. So the question I have for you, and it appears that you're the only one here at the moment, Go Caps. What would you give up for Eichel? Like say the Washington Capitals, okay? If you're the Washington Capitals, that would be insane. But I don't even think there's a deal there to be had for the Washington Capitals because they don't have enough young players. They wouldn't have what Buffalo's looking for. If I'm Buffalo, if I am gonna if I'm gonna go crazy and trade Eichel right now, I'm probably looking for the first thing like this a superior goaltender right off the get-go. That's really I still say if you're gonna build, you build around a goaltender, and that would be my first thing I would do. So go to Anaheim, ask for Gibson, Zegras, and Manson. Gibson, Zegras, and Manson. And maybe you got to give Omar back too. So you get a number one center back, not as good as Jack Eichel, very few are, but a future number one center back. You get a solid veteran defenseman that they desperately need, really. That type of defenseman would be huge there. And Gibson, who can win games for you all by himself. And now you can start building your team and it wouldn't totally be dead in the water. You got draft picks coming up, and you've got cap room. If you could sign Taylor Hall, I personally wouldn't, but you could start adding to this roster and building a deep roster. Because really, what the Buffalo's major problem is they just don't have a deep roster at all. And of course, the Skinner trade, or the Skinner signing, is just absolutely killer for them. That would be the biggest problem right now. So, but that's the thing. It's out there again, is what I'm trying to get at. Eichel is out there again as a possibly trade. This is getting too much now. This is like pretty popular stuff. It was on Twitter. It was trending on my Twitter last night. This happened. This cropped up before in the summer. Then they tried to get Taylor Hall. They got Taylor Hall. I think like kind of like a desperate attempt to make Eichel happy. I think Eichel is pissed. I think Eichel is absolutely done with this organization. I think that's really what it's come down to. Sort of like I think it's come down to the fact that Eichel's done with this organization and he wants to be traded. Elliot Friedman. Elliot Friedman is who I'm talking about. Elliot Friedman. When Elliot Friedman starts talking about stuff like this, there's usually a little bit of something to it. So, pretty cray-cray. I was thinking about going down maybe doing a video on like if Eichel was traded to every team, because there isn't one team that wouldn't be calling for the heck of it, at least just to see. But where would be some teams that you could get a number one back, get a number one pick back, and maybe a goaltender, which they desperately would need, I think. Like say the Detroit Red Wings, you'd have to get you could get Dylan Larkin, maybe Tyler Bertuzzi, and if Greiss would sign a long-term contract, you could have Greiss and Omark as your goaltenders for the future. I mean, is that the best case scenario? No. And maybe a first round pick. What about their first next year or the year after? If I'm going to trade Eichel, I'm starting to try to accumulate picks for not this year, but the next year to get the next superstar. Not this year, but next year, there are like sick players going to be available. Tons of them. So Tyler Wright, I believe, is one of them. They're like Crosby-esque. Right up there. So maybe start looking at something like that. But like with Detroit, go Larkin, Bertuzzi, Greiss, and their first next year. I don't think they would give up their first in 2022 because that is going to be an incredibly valuable pick. You wouldn't get much else but that pick. That's how valuable that pick is for that year. But that's something. Detroit, at least you could get Larkin back. I mean, is Larkin anywhere near Eichel? No, but he's a number one center. He's got a lot of heart. I don't know. Maybe you can get something out of Skinner. Tyler Bertuzzi is a good second line winger. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at. You're not going to get absolute value for Eichel unless you get it in a draft pick, really. Unless you are fortunate enough, like next year they could get that power kid. There's a lot of defensemen available next year that look like they're going to be top two defensemen. So the only way you're really going to get anywhere near Eichel value is by getting a high draft pick from somebody. So that's why I would say Anaheim Ducks. Maybe the Anaheim Ducks would give you Gibson in their first next year. Or, like I said, Trevor Zegras, who is more ready to play right now. That would be the ultimate. Trevor Zegras and Gibson. If you could get more, great. But if I'm the Ducks, I don't know if I want to give you more than that. I don't know if I feel like I have to give you more than that because Eichel is on his way out. And he is making $10 million a year. So, but the thing is, I don't think he's anywhere near untradeable. Let's go to a couple other teams here that could everybody's going to be offering something for Eichel. Let's go, because people say, well, the cap, but Buffalo can take cap back. let's say the Philadelphia Flyers decided to give Couturier, who's making 4.5 and is going to have to be re-signed, Couturier. How about Joel Farabee? How about Kevin Hayes? Kevin Hayes, Joel Farabee, and their first next year, and Sanheim or something like that. I mean, it's not impossible for a team to piece it together enough to get an Eichel. Like, Eichel would be a game changer for Philadelphia. And they would have to fill out their other holes somehow. But it can happen. There's no doubt about that. So anyways, tell me if you think that's a possibility. Let's go look at the games from last night, and we'll talk about them. Holy jeez. My coffee's too hot. Oh my gosh. It burnt my tongue. Burnt my tongue bad. The games from last night. I gotta find them now. Score. Okay. Reload. First game. Ducks versus Bruins. I picked this. I picked the Devils in this game, and let me tell you why. The Devils are playing with a level of confidence and assuredness that I haven't seen a team play in a long time. This is a reason why I thought Lindy Ruff was a fantastic pick for a coach for this team. He's a great motivator, and more or less, he's great at getting people to believe in themselves. Kyle Palmieri, why did I say that? Kyle Palmieri got 2 goals last night. Looked great. Thanks for coming into the lineup. Bratt played fantastic. Hughes still looks amazing. Pavel Zacha, this is the big one to me. Looking at the game last night for New Jersey, Pavel Zacha's looked better than I've ever seen him look so far in the NHL. They drafted him, I believe, in 2015. And when he was drafted, people were, most of the people in the league thought they drafted him too high for that year. And it looked like it. It's looked like it so far this year. So far, most of the. Well, I got to share this out. It's looked like it so far in his career, but this year, Lindy Ruff seems to have gotten a lot out of him. He's one of the best players on the ice a lot of the time, and that's saying a lot coming from him. I think they were really getting concerned about whether he was going to make it at all. But now, hey, how you doing? So, anyways, did you hear what I said? He's got a no trade clause, but his no trade clause doesn't take effect until after this year. So they can trade him right now. And even if they didn't, if he wanted out, they could trade him anyways because he wants out. So I'm thinking that he wants out. If it's getting to this point where some of the bigger media people are putting it out there as a rumor, which they don't like to do, and the rumor be wrong, it doesn't look good on them. There's something to it. And I would say if that's the case, it's because he wants out. I was showing it already. Hopefully you can see this. I brought up my window capture. Where are the Buffalo Sabres here? Where the heck are the Buffalo Sabres? Capitals, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Dallas Stars, Flyers, Avalanche, Coyotes, Buffalo Sabres. There we go, Buffalo Sabres. Let's look up Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this now, but this is 2021. He's making $10 million. He's got a $7,500 signing bonus. He's got 2021-22, no new movement clause. No movement clause. They didn't start his no movement clause until 22-23. So I don't know if you can see that. How can he trade if his contract ends in 20? The other team just takes the contract. They can trade him anytime as long as it's there is a no movement clause. He has a no movement clause in his contract, but it doesn't start until next year. Right now, he can be traded anywhere, and he can't do anything about it. So I was thinking that. Anaheim would be the one. Anaheim would give Gibson, Zegras, and their first next year for Jack Eichel. Yeah. I think it's almost a good idea now. It's become, if you could get Zegras, Gibson is, I think, the best goaltender in the league or close to it. And really, any team that's struggling like this, a great way to solve that struggle is to get the best goaltender you can. Yeah, before you took off, I was talking about that, but I don't think it'd be possible for him to go to the Caps. They don't have what Buffalo would want. Buffalo's going to want to trade him for the highest draft pick they can get. I don't know where Jacket is. Oh yeah, let me share this over to my Patreon. Where's everybody actually? Where's everybody today? Let me share this over to my Patreon and Jacket might come over here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say like Anaheim, Detroit, maybe Nashville. Nashville might have a chance, but I don't know what you're going to get in return there. You would get more like Duchesne, Ekholm, their first this year. You don't really have a goaltender there you'd want. And if it's me, it's just me. If it's me, I'm looking for a goaltender. A goaltender can stabilize an organization, and you can build around that. You can have Jack Eichel, but if you don't have a goaltender and they don't really have an elite goaltender, not elite enough of a goaltender there, they need an elite goaltender to get some stability in that organization. I think that's what I would be doing. Pearlo dance. There we go. Yes, I did. Pearlo dance. I did the Pearlo dance. Didn't you see me doing the Pearlo dance already? Or are you asking go Caps? Well, of course go Caps. To everybody, as soon as they wake up, they do the Pearlo dance. It's the way it is. So NHNR, did you hear me when I first started? We were talking about Eichel possibly being traded. There's a trade. Let's trade Eichel to the Montreal Canadiens. Now that would be crazy. Buffalo to Montreal, although it's not hasn't been unheard of. That would be a team. Montreal would definitely do it. The question is, what are you going to get back? You could get a lot back because they've got a lot of depth on their team. Imagine that. Montreal Canadiens. Let's bring up the Montreal Canadiens here. We're going to trade Eichel to the Montreal Canadiens. So, if we're going to trade Eichel to the Montreal Canadiens, what are we going to get back? I am going to get back Nick Suzuki right off the top. Nick Suzuki is going to have to be plus. You're going to have to give up more than that. Philip Dano, Kokiniemi and all. Nick Suzuki, Philip Dano. You're not going to get the goaltender here because they're not going to trade you Price. And Victor Mete and a first round pick. So yeah, Eichel is on the. There's been talk by Elliot Friedman, who when Elliot Friedman starts saying that things are going to happen, things quite often happen. And there's been talk that Eichel's going to get traded. Could get traded. For Jack Eichel, dude. Jack Eichel. You're not going to trade Suzuki for Jack Eichel? Jack Eichel's better than Suzuki. I like Suzuki a lot, but he's not Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel is like McKinnon, up in the McKinnon, McDavid, all of those areas. Are you going to trade? You're not going to trade Suzuki for Jack Eichel? You got to tell me. Tell me now. Are you thinking about it? Or are you gone? Are you still here? You gotta tell me. Anyways, I would trade I would trade Suzuki. Who the heck? I mean, there's so many things that Montreal could offer there. No, that's not going to even come close. That's not even going to come close. Not even close. For Eichel, Paling is like maybe a fourth line center. Maybe a third, if you're lucky. Mete is... Okay. Mete is... not even barely in the lineup right now. I could see Mete being part of the deal, but it would have to be. You're going to give up a lot. You're going to have to do something like Suzuki, Drouin, Mete, and a first. Something like that. Yeah, you're going to give up an awful lot. Maybe Primo. You could put Primo in there instead of Mete because they could use goaltending prospects. But yeah, you're going to give up a lot. Paling doesn't do much. Paling's just a throw-in. You maybe you're probably going to at least Kokiniemi. Kokiniemi will have to be part of the deal, but I would say Suzuki's part of the deal. And if Suzuki's not part of the deal, and I'm the Buffalo Sabres, I'm pretty much hanging up. It's got to be Suzuki, and it's not going to be straight across. So you got to go Suzuki plus. because there's nothing else that you're gonna offer me if I for Jack Eichel. Because you got to remember, like if I call up Anaheim, they're probably gonna offer Trevor Zegras. If I go to LA, they probably will offer their first rounder from last year. How come I always forget his name? The LA Kings first rounder for last year. Oh my gosh. You got to remember that the rest of the league's going to offer. No, it's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. No. No, I'm not. I mean, if you go around the league and see what else you can be offered, I bet you Detroit offers Dylan Larkin plus. Think about it. Dylan Larkin. Why would I want Dano, a second line center, who doesn't even put up huge points, more of a third line center, but he's okay. He's second, he's solid. He's a good two-way player, but and Drouin, who really hasn't did anywhere, he's okay. He's an okay right winger. Paling, who may only be a fourth line center. And you're not even throwing a first in there? No. Pozo taking 15% retained. Who you think Buffalo's going to retain? No. Buffalo wouldn't be retaining anything there if that deal. You'd be taking the whole contract for Okposo, for sure. No doubt about it. In that deal, I mean, yeah. You'd be taking all of the bad contract. You wouldn't be just taking part of a bad contract. I'm not worried about now, if you want to take Skinner, now you might be talking. And the first, yeah. At least the first, but still, it's not enough, my friend. Now, if you want to take Skinner, you might be able to get away with that. Now we're talking. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe they think they can trade Eichel and get rid of the Skinner contract at the same time. Oh my gosh. So that would... It's almost not worth taking Eichel if you got to take Skinner too. It's almost not worth it. Because you're losing $9 million on your cap as soon as you take that Skinner contract. It almost doesn't even really matter what Buffalo does now, because as long as they've got that $9 million Skinner contract, they probably can't win a cup. Yeah, I know. Nobody can. Who can afford Skinner and Eichel? Nobody. Now, if you gave up, if you took Skinner, you might be able to give up what you said. If you took Eichel and Skinner, you could give up Dano, Drouin, and then that would cover your Skinner contract, and then you'd have Jack Eichel. But I honestly don't even think that's worth it. And that's saying a lot. Taking that Skinner contract, for anybody taking that Skinner contract, you'd have to be insane. Even if you're getting Eichel with them. Well, they could rebuild that way. I just can't even see even attaching Eichel. As soon as you attach that Skinner contract to Eichel, you're not getting much back in return, because that's $19 million on somebody's. I think all general managers would understand that even if you have Jack Eichel, if you've got that Skinner contract, you're done. You're not going to be able to compete. So if that's what they're trying to do, then okay. Okay, well, I mean, because I've got now, I'm by myself. Uh, anyways, that New Jersey game. I predicted that New Jersey game, and the reason why I predicted that New Jersey game that New Jersey would beat Boston was simply because New Jersey are playing like world beaters right now, and Boston is playing really well. They're going to surprise the crap out of a lot of teams right now. Until they stop surprising teams, they're going to win a lot of games. Basically, if you're going to win against New Jersey right now, you got to start taking the body right away. I mean, if you have even for a second a letdown against them, they are going to burn you. They've got all the confidence in the world. Lindy Ruff has them believing in themselves. You have to outbelieve them. You have to outbelieve the New Jersey Devils right now. And Blackwood, what? Hey, CL, how you doing? I'm not doing my normal thing. We were talking about the New Jersey Devils, but big news coming out by Elliot Friedman that it's possible that Jack Eichel could be on the block right now. Don't forget to like, by the way. The more you like, the more they show it, if you don't mind. So we're Philadelphia Flyers fans, right, CL? What would we give up for Jack Eichel? Would we give up Couturier, Konechny, and our first next year? Like, what would we give up for Jack Eichel? Could you imagine Jack Eichel in a Philadelphia Flyers uniform? Could you imagine Jack Eichel playing with Farabee? I hate to lose Couturier. I really hate. I would hate to lose Couturier, but I think you'd have no choice. I mean, I think they'd hang up the phone if Couturier wasn't involved. Yeah, if he's this okay, if you look at the past, what's happened here? All of this scuttlebutt came up about an Eichel trade before, and yeah, we have Hayes, but I mean, do we need Eichel? Would you do a would you do a Couturier, Konechny, Sanheim trade? Or, defense is hard for us to lose. Or maybe the first or from our last first overall pick, or last first round pick. I don't know who. I don't think they'd be looking too much for defense. I think they'd be looking more. They would also be looking for goaltending, but we don't have goaltending to give. Except for that Russian guy, Fedotov or whatever. Maybe that. Konechny, Couturier, and that Fedotov kid. For Jack Eichel. Would you do that? The hard part about that trade is letting go of Couturier. But, I mean, we're talking about Jack Eichel here. We're talking about 100. If he was in the right situation, if he was able to play with guys like Farabee and Giroux, Van Riemsdyk, Hayes would be our second line center. It would have to be, yeah, Couturier would have to go in that trade, for sure. No doubt about it. So do I. But you got to give up something you love in order to do it. And I think you'd have to give up I think you'd have to give up Couturier and Konechny. I think tough trade. But I mean, in order to get something like Eichel, you're gonna have to give up. It's gonna have to hurt a little bit at least. When you think about who else would be offering stuff, like I wouldn't doubt that Detroit would be offering Larkin up. Uh, I wouldn't doubt that Anaheim would be offering up Trevor Zegras. Um, San Jose would probably be on the phone like crazy trying to get it done because that could save that franchise. They would probably be going nuts. They give you their first round draft pick next year, coacher. I don't know. That's the problem. They probably don't have enough. Yes, the Wild. Okay, let's look at the Wild. The Wild would definitely be in there like crazy. No doubt about it. Uh, for the Wild, where's Minnesota? Minnesota, okay. For the Wild, okay, the bad part about the Wild is you couldn't get a center back because they don't have a center to give because they need centers. The only one they would have to give you Marco Rossi. You'd have to get their center from last year, who, by the way, if you were to go Rossi, he played with Jack Quinn. So you're bringing back Rossi, and you've got that familiarity. This makes sense. Minnesota, it would save Minnesota a rebuild to do this. So you could go Boldy, Rossi, Dumba, and a first. Yeah, Laugh only has 1 point. And you know what? He doesn't even look that bad. He just needs some veteran leadership, more veteran leader. They need more veteran leadership in New York. They got to start bringing in a couple more veterans to help those kids out. No, you're not going to add Skinner in there. Boldy, Rossi, Dumba, and a first. I think they would do that, honestly. I think they would do that. Because Eichel would save them a rebuild. They wouldn't have to rebuild. They'd still have Eck. They'd still have Greenway. They still have the kid, not Kopitar. They still have Zuccarello, Kaprizov, Fiala. So there's a lot there. They'd be a solid team if they got Eichel. It's really what they need. If they had somebody like that. Kevin, how you doing? We're talking about Jack Eichel in the rumor mill getting traded right now. He's in the rumor mill. Elliot Friedman has brought it up that he could be traded. Now, the Islanders would have to trade Barzal for sure. There's no question about it. You'd have to trade Barzal. Eichel's better than Barzal. Eichel is better than Barzal, yes. Barzal's good, but he's not. Eichel's up there with McDavid and McKinnon and guys like that. Barzal is like Suzuki in Montreal, will be like them. Trevor Zegras will probably be like that in Anaheim. Barzal's like this, just below, like just below. Probably, I wonder if we could go through the top 10 centers in the league. Off the top of my head. I think the Stars. Okay, let's look at the Stars. Well, I don't think they would want Sagan. It would have to be Ropo Hintz, but then Dallas is going to have to give up a whole crap load of cap space. If they were to trade with the Dallas Stars, that would be a deal to still be good now. That's the way you'd have to do it. If Bishop was healthy, or Jake Ottinger, I'd want Jake Ottinger if I was going to go with the Stars. So let's say I go Ropo Hintz, John Klingberg, and Jake Ottinger. Oh, the Avs would be stupid. I mean, and that's the sad thing. I was thinking about that last night. The Avs could feasibly do it. That's the sick thing. But I don't know, fortunately for the rest of the league, I don't think that they would have really what Buffalo was looking for compared to what other people are offering. But it's doable, and it would make them just absolutely ridiculous. Like, they would be just stupid. They don't really have the center. Like, I don't really want Kadri back in that deal. And if I did have Kadri back, I'd want, like, Bowen Byram. It'd be like Kadri, Byram, and who else? Alex Newhook and a first or something like that. Kadri, Byram, Alex Newhook, and a first. Avs trade Kadri. Oh, we're almost too far. Kadri, Newhook, yeah, but I think you'd need like Bowen Byram. You got to have that centerpiece. Newhook, it doesn't really project to be maybe a second line center. Kadri is getting older. He's not as valuable as he once was. Yeah, I mean, Gurianov would be somebody you'd be looking at for Dallas for sure. The thing with Dallas is they're going to have to give cap space back. So, like Gurianov and it would have to be one of their defensemen as well. You might be able to go straight across for Hischier. That would be something. But because Hischier's probably going to make the same amount that Eichel's making eventually. But the problem was Dallas would be screwed cap-wise right now. They'd be way over the cap if they did that. And And then Buffalo wouldn't have a center. But at that point, you're not really worried about that. You're just looking for the highest value. Yeah, I mean, you'd be in the situation that Toronto's in. You'd have so much tied up in your cap, it'd be pretty unreal. But now, I mean, if you want to go over the top and win a cup right now, you might as well just hand them the cup. If you had Eichel and McKinnon up the middle, holy crap. With Rantanen, Landeskog, Saad, Burakovsky, jeez. That would be one sick lineup. if you had 1-for-1, I just brought it up. Maybe like one player for one player. Maybe Heiskanen in Dallas. Heiskanen's probably a Norris level. Heiskanen's a Norris level defenseman. Heiskanen is probably close to already a top 5 defenseman in the league. He might be the closest thing player to Hedman to win. Well, I mean, no, there's Makar, and between Makar, you could trade maybe Makar 1-for-1 for Eichel. It's possible. Yeah, they could still be winning the series. That's right. Yeah, that'd be sick depth. But like you said, it would only be short lived because it's probably not something you do. Because if you're Colorado, you have an opportunity to have a dynasty for a long time. And if you do something like Eichel, then you're probably going to lose that because you're going to be like what Toronto is. How are you going to re-sign a lot of the guys that you have to re-sign there, like you mentioned. So maybe not a good idea, but it's fun to look at in the short term. I like Minnesota. Minnesota to me seems like a good one there. Minnesota seems very likely of a place for him to go. Mostly because of that idea that you get go back to Minnesota again. How come I can't find the team when I want to find it? Minnesota Wild, there we go. Mostly because you can get Marco Rossi. Yeah, that's true. You could do that. You could win the cup this year and then retrade him again. Although that doesn't look very good for an organization to do that. It might be. You're right though. You could just retrade him again. Pick him up now and retrade him at the end of the year. You could, yeah. I mean, you'd never get complete value for him, but like, just think, we've been talking about this on our lives a lot. Imagine if Colorado had a goaltender like Gibson. Like, you pretty much hand him the cup. Or actually, if Carolina had a goaltender like Gibson. If I was Carolina, I'd try to do a 3-way trade there somehow, but I don't think they could because if Eichel to Carolina's got to involve Aho, I imagine. And if you're going to do a 3-way trade, you don't like that too much. You don't want to lose Aho to get a goaltender. So, probably wouldn't work out. Yeah, I he wouldn't have much of a choice anyways. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. You could grab him and then retrade him again. I'm thinking so. I mean, he's still playing really well. Elliott, yeah, I think he's probably there till he retires. He's still playing really well, so they might as well. You're making a video about Eichel. I was gonna do that too, but I got these lives, so I've been doing. I just thought I'd go on about it in the live. I stopped doing videos because I like doing these lives kind of more. What's another team? Let's have fun. Why not? Nobody's watching today anyway, so we can just do whatever the hell we want. You can just. What about Pittsburgh Penguins? Yeah, that's never gonna work. So, what about the Columbus Blue Jackets? That would be sick. Seth Jones. The Columbus Blue Jackets, Seth Jones. Yeah, Columbus Blue Jackets would. I mean, I don't think they got enough to offer them though. They probably have to. I'd want Merzlikins, Seth Jones, or Werenski for sure. The Panthers, yeah, Barkov, right off the top, Barkov. It'd have to be Barkov plus. Barkov and Ekblad. Yeah, it would have to be, yeah, because Seth Jones doesn't have the greatest season, yeah. If Barkov and Eichel were on the same team, yeah, but I don't think you make that trade with Florida unless Barkov is part of it, so. Not likely going to happen. You'd have, Barkov is pretty close to Eichel, actually. So you probably wouldn't need to trade much more than that. But for cap reasons, they might even have to. So, Barkov for Eichel. Yeah, I don't, straight across, I think I want more than just Barkov. I hate to do this, but I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Both the Steel and Pearlo. Pearlo for Steel. Yeah, you'd have to give up. I think whoever's getting whoever's getting Steel would have to give up a first for that. Did you guys watch the games last night? What games did you guys watch last night? What games did you do? What games did you guys watch last night? What do you want to talk about? We can go over all the games, but if I go over all the games, McDavid for Steele, yeah. I'll tell Steele you said that. That's about the only person you wouldn't trade Eichel for. Maybe McKinnon and Eichel. Probably take McKinnon over Eichel. Yeah, I picked the Devils to win over the Bruins too. If you remember yesterday when I was talking to Steele, I said I really thought New Jersey could win that game. And they did. I mean, that team, New Jersey team, is flying right now. And on paper, they shouldn't be. And you're kind of. It's really one of the main reasons, of course, is Blackwood. When he's in net, I mean, he's just unstoppable right now. He's going on Vezina. He's going towards Vezina status here, Mackenzie Blackwood right now. Right now, if the season were to stop, right now, you'd have to give Mackenzie Blackwood the Vezina, right? I think. Who else would get it? Nobody. What other games were yesterday? Yesterday, see who. Look at the guys in their lineup. Andreas Johnsson, Bastian, Sharon Govich. Nobody even heard of him last year. McLeod. McLeod was a late first. Who's Maltsev? I don't know. Zaka, like I said, is playing fantastic right now. Kaukonen they got from Carolina. It's just an overall. Will Butcher was almost out of the league, and now all of a sudden he's playing 18 minutes a night. And then they got Vatanen back, which helps. But I mean, on paper this lineup should not be this good. Quite simply, on paper this lineup should not be this good. And all in on Steele, yeah. He can be the new general manager. Yeah, Wood is, and you know what's funny? Last year, there was so much talk that Wood was on the block. And I'm going to take this capture off. They almost traded Wood last year. It goes to show you what a coach can do for a player, because they almost traded Wood last year. But if you have a guy that builds confidence like Lindy Ruff does, can totally change a team. And he does that. Yeah, I wonder what Steele would do. I wish Steele wasn't busy today. I'd like to hear what he would do there. But you're a Montreal fan, right? You're not a Sabres fan. But I mean, just in general, because the fans deserve way better there than they've been given, for sure. It's crazy what that fan base has endured, and if we could fill the building right now, they would still fill the building. They don't deserve it. Yeah, I know you're a Habs fan. That's what I thought. But anyways, I think I think just about any team out there would definitely put in a play for Eichel if he was available. Even the Edmonton Oilers. Imagine that. Imagine Eichel and McDavid as your top two centers and Draisaitl. Holy crap. Holy crap. We'll give you Nugent Hopkins and basically whatever you want on the roster, pretty much. No, I think they're more diehard than Philly fans, honestly. I don't know, maybe equal. About equal, I guess. Yeah, Dominic Hasek's the best goaltender of all time. For sure, I would say. But to botch that organization up so bad that you finally get something good happen like Eichel. And he was supposed to be McDavid, right? Because they totally tanked that year, and they didn't win the lottery, and they would have had McDavid, which doesn't really change much, to tell you the honest truth. They jumped through tables, yeah. Yeah. They're pretty passionate, for sure, no doubt about that. Philadelphia Flyers fans are some of the most passionate fans, for sure. But to botch an organization so much that you draft somebody like Eichel and then you do so poorly building around him, he doesn't even want to be there anymore. That is unbelievable. Buffalo. I mean, as a Buffalo, as far as sports fan is concerned, because Buffalo's crazy. Their sports fans are insane. There's cities that have like baseball cities and stuff like that, where the ratings for people from Buffalo for another city is better than that city. They'll actually have more Buffalo fans watching certain games in basketball and all that than the actual city whose team it belongs to. That's how crazy they are. I will tell you this, I don't think, I'm an Oilers fan and I don't think we have the best fans. Um, and what do you mean by best fans? I mean, it's hard to say. You would like Bill Armstrong. Oh, from Arizona. Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Not so much. Or the Florida Panthers. Haven't got there yet. I don't know. Ottawa Senators are Canadian, and they didn't fill out. They didn't fill out the. They didn't sell out their stadium or their arena during a playoff game. That's I think that might be worse. At least Arizona and Florida, you're not a hockey market. Philly fans are passionate, all right. Philly fans take their team pretty seriously. Edmonton Oilers fans are very kind of snobby. If you go to an Edmonton Oilers game, they're like, if you go to an Edmonton Oilers game, they are like, how do you explain it? Yeah, snobby. Like they're not loud. Like I imagine, I've never been to I'm a Philadelphia Flyers fan, but I've never been to a Flyers game. But I would take it that they're fairly loud. Yeah, Sens for sure. That's the worst fans. Best fans, there's a lot of best fans. I don't know. Best fans, like most knowledgeable fans. It's all over the league, really. Very knowledgeable fans. Toronto, maybe. But I wouldn't call, I mean, it's hard. Like in Toronto, if you go to a game, it's not very loud because a lot of the people that are there are corporate. They're not even true Toronto fans. They buy the tickets because it's advertising, pretty much. It's a very corporate feel there. I'm not sure. After last year, I'm not sure what the Habs will do. If they trade Tatar, it's because they're looking for a bigger score than Tatar to add to the lineup, I would say. I don't think they'll trade him in the regular season unless they're going to get a bigger score in return. More of a sniper. If they're missing anything in Montreal, it's that. That's why they were in the Lion trade for so long. I wonder what they were offering for Lion that they couldn't get with Dubois. I'm guessing they were offering Drouin plus for Lion. And Winnipeg kept on holding out to see if Dubois was going to be ready, available. Because Dubois is younger. His father is part of the organization. He seems to really want to be there. And in Winnipeg, that seems to be difficult to find people that want to be there. Yeah, they'd have to trade him. Like I said, if they traded him within the year, it would be part of a package to get a better scorer back. And I imagine any team trading for him would want to be able to talk to him and work out a long-term contract. Because they're not going to trade, it wouldn't make sense to trade him just to get a draft pick back when they're playoff bound during the year. It wouldn't really make much sense. They would just keep him and keep him then. So more than likely he stays. And either they re-sign him or they let him go and they go for bigger fish in the free agent market next year. Who that may be, how strong is that market next year? Let's take a look, shall we? I'm just looking it up here now. All positions. Update. Taylor Hall. Landeskog, but I'm sure they're going to sign Landeskog up. Jaden Schwartz, but I'm sure St. Louis will sign Jaden Schwartz. They absolutely love him there. So really, there's not much. Unless they want Taylor Hall, I'm going to say that they keep him and sign him. Unless Tatar says, nah, I'm going to try greener pastures. But if I was Tatar, I wouldn't be looking anywhere else because he's probably not going to get the same opportunity anywhere else as he has in Montreal. He would be a second line winger in most places. And, unless he goes to a non-cup team. Maybe he goes back to Detroit. He started in Detroit. Which games am I watching tonight? Well, of course the Oilers. The Oilers Calgary. They're playing Rittich and Smith. So I'd say that's going to be a high-scoring game. Would seem likely to me. I probably like the Oilers there because Rittich has just been terrible. Terrible. Now, this could be the game that Rittich turns his life around. Knowing my, not luck, I guess you would say, it's happened quite a bit. I've just put the Pearlo curse on, no, or opposite of curse on Rittich. Because every time I talk crap about somebody on here, like Murray, who else was a few other guys I'd said, and then they all of a sudden turned it around and started playing really good. So, but I'm looking at the Oilers. I'm going to watch I'm going to watch all of them if I can, because I always do. Holtby, you know what? Holtby, oh yeah, there was another one. I talked trash about Holtby, and last night, was it? Or the night before last? Who are they going to play? He played well, and he looked confident in everything. Jacket's in. How you doing, Jacket? Welcome to the live, my friend. We're just spitballing here. We're talking about the games tonight. Let's see. Are they finally got... Laurent Brossoit is likely for Winnipeg. And Demko for Vancouver. I had a feeling they might put Brossoit in there. I'm going to watch... I'm going to be interested in the Florida game. Or Carolina game, I should say. Carolina, Chicago. Yeah, I watched the Flyers Rangers, and it was kind of what I expected. The Sens did play Hogberg. Oh no, they played Murray back to back. I thought they might because they had an opportunity to beat Toronto with Hutchinson and net. And Murray, when he's looking his best, looks better than Hogberg. But he got ripped apart. I watched the Flyers and Rangers. Yeah, what were they going to do? I kind of went the way I thought I would. The Rangers should have beat New Jersey the two nights before. And I was wary of taking them over Philadelphia, even though they were depleted and they went through COVID. Because of that, I mean, they're just playing so bad. But Philadelphia couldn't get their feet moving at all during that game. Yeah, Hart did play well. They were lucky that Hart played well because they really shouldn't have won that game. Got a point there probably. But it's amazing what a coach can do. Because why is that New Jersey team come out of the gate so strong? They hadn't played in the same amount of time as Philadelphia. But they didn't look like they skipped a beat. Now, even Colorado did not look good against Vegas the first game when they came back after that long layoff. And Vegas beat them 1-0. They held on, but they didn't look great. New Jersey looked like they didn't even skip a beat hardly. Of course, they were playing the Rangers, who this year do not have much pushback, but still, they look pretty darn good. So I'm liking that Carolina game is interesting. Could be a lot of offense. Reimers in net. They play the hell out of that Lankinen kid, and it doesn't seem to matter. He just keeps on going and going and going. The Hawks have been. This should be a fun game to watch for sure. I'm really interested to see what the Hawks are going to do against a talent like Carolina. I lean Carolina, but I think it'd be a 1-goal game. But however, Carolina can blow any team out at any time. The Panthers should win that game the way they've been playing. The question is, are they going to take Florida too lightly? Are they going to have a letdown now, kind of a breather, like, oh, we got Detroit? That's about the only thing there. I think Florida will win, though, pretty handily. And then Vancouver, I just said Vancouver is putting in Demko. No, yeah, and Winnipeg is putting in Brossoit. Now, Brossoit has had a very good year this year. I kind of got to lean to the under the way Brossoit is playing. But I think Demko will. I think Vancouver will win that game. Chicago does score on the power play well. Carolina's had some problems staying out of the box, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I do think that's got to be over. Northern Division is voodoo. It's voodoo right now. I don't even like to put a pick in for the Northern Division teams, although I did put them in today. Like Edmonton with Smith and Calgary with Rittich, even at 6.5, that should be over all day long. That should be like at least 7-3, or at least 4-3, at least 5-3 or something like that. Rittich hasn't been able to stop pucks for a long time now. Yeah, that's true. They do seem to play for OT. The question's going to be really, if Carolina has their offensive game in sync, they could just blow the doors off of them, though. They're bigger and faster and stronger than Chicago. But I don't know. 2 to 6 weeks, I heard that. So maybe 4 to 5 weeks now, depending. I don't know how long he's been out. Did you have Ottawa last night? If you noticed, I put the over in late last night for the Ottawa game, and I put small pearls on it because it's been so voodoo in the North. Like, that should be over all day. Hutchinson and even Murray should be over all day. And I could understand anybody taking Ottawa with Hutchinson, and that Hutchinson's not a good goaltender. Did you hear that there's a lot of talk out there right now that Eichel might get traded, Jacket? Oh, by the way, remember to hit the like button, guys. Like. Likey. I'm going to do that with mine, too, actually. Make sure you hit that like button. It gets more people in here. I don't know, affects the algorithm or something. I watched some of the Toronto game. It was pretty much once it got out of hand, I was moving on to other games. But the Columbus game with the Predators, the Predators are just absolutely garbage. I was listening to Sirius Radio yesterday, and I don't know who it was, but it was I think it was yeah, what's his name? O'Neill, not O'Neill. Anyways, it was a defenseman that played for the Colorado Avalanche, and apparently he said that Duchesne was quite the whiner in Colorado. Well, Gibson to Edmonton would, like, I would just lose my mind. I would lose my mind. That would be freaking. I would give up our first round draft pick next year, Koskinen, Broberg. I don't care. Just whatever. Seriously, I don't know what I wouldn't give up for Gibson in the net. Oh my gosh, that would be absolutely amazing. From Gravite? Yeah, that's funny, we were just talking about Minnesota. No, Kako, Strome. Lundqvist, okay, not Lundqvist, but I don't think Kravtsov's going to play, honestly. I wouldn't do that. 2022 first round pick. That's pretty valuable. Kako, Strome, Gorgiev, and that Kako, Strome, Gorgiev in the first in 2022. And throw Kravtsov in there too. Oh, prospect Niels Lundqvist. Okay. Uh, I'd have to look at Lundqvist. That's that's the kind of trade you want to do if you're going to do it, though. I agree with Grav on that. And I agree with Grav on most things. Kid's brilliant, by the way. If you haven't seen Gravite, he's super successful hockey YouTuber. I'm proud of him. He started about the same time I did, and he's blowing my doors off. He's fantastic. His prospect stuff is great. That's the kind of deal you want to do, yeah. We were just doing one, and it was Minnesota. We had him going to Minnesota for Dumba, Marco Rossi, something like that. And maybe Greenway and a first next year. Dumba, Rossi, Greenway, and a first next year. Something like that. I'd give up, for Eichel, I'd give up Bjornfurt. LA's got a lot of good defensemen there. Let's see, what do you got? Turcotte, Velarde, Bjornfurt, Clegg. Holy crap. That's just half your defense, though. That's a problem. Like, I don't think LA can afford to give up that much. I mean, that would do it for sure. That would do it. I think that's almost a little bit overload. Turcotte, Bjornfurt. Turcotte, Velarde, Bjornford in a first would probably do it. That would be a good trade for Buffalo. Turcotte, Velarde, Bjornford in a first. Now you're building some depth in that organization. I really love Bjornford, and I know they do too. So that would be tough for them to give up. But yeah, that's about right where you need to be. With Byfield coming up, they might be able to absorb the Turcotte loss. Interesting trade, my friend. Forget about Lucic. Zara. Who's Zara? I don't even know who Zara is. Dubé, Valimaki. Zara. Who am I? Why is that not clicking in my head? Zara. Dubé. Who's Zara? It's bugging me now. I don't know who Zara is. Oh, Zari. Zari, okay. So did he just do this video right now? Zari, Dubé, Valimaki. Valimaki's huge. I don't think that's enough. I'm not high enough on Dubé, and definitely not Lucic. Forget about Lucic. I don't want Lucic at all. Why would I want Lucic in that? Yeah, I would not want Lucic in that deal at all. No way. Why would I take a bad contract with for Eichel? I'd like to hear what if that was from Grav? I'm surprised Grav put Lucic in that. I'd like to hear what he have to say about it, because I wouldn't put Zegras plus, yeah. Well, for sure Zegras plus, yeah. Was he doing like one of his top teams that Eichel could get traded to? Is that what he was doing? Because that'll be an interesting video. What other teams did he have? I mean, you can really take any team. I don't think there's a team out there that wouldn't be interested. But that Calgary package, I don't. That's I would take Zegras plus before I would take a package like that. But I'm sure Calgary would be on the phone. Top 5 teams, okay. I'm sure Calgary would be on the phone, but I just don't think they have enough. Monahan, meh. They would have to be like, it would have to be like Monahan, like you said, Connor Zari. Valimaki's very interesting. I think you'd have to have Monahan, Zari, Valimaki. Who? Wolf. Oh, Wolf, the goaltender Wolf. Okay, yeah, you could throw goaltender Wolf in there, I guess. Something like that. But I'm not a big Monahan fan, so I'm probably not biting on that. Not when you can get Zegras. Or like that package from Minnesota. Did he even put Minnesota in there? Was Minnesota one of the top 5 teams? Let me look at some other teams here. What the heck? I was just going to say the Hawks. The Hawks could do it. I was just going to say the Hawks. Kirby Dach. Kirby Dach plus. Now I'm interested. If I'm the Buffalo Sabres, I'm interested if you're talking Kirby Dach. I love that guy so much. I don't know if Chicago would even want to bend. I don't even know if Chicago would want to bend on that. Kirby Dach plus. Kirby Dach and Lankinen. You can have Eichel. Did he have Dach in there? Because it's not, I mean, Strome's not going to do it. Kubalik. I don't think Chicago's getting him without Kirby Dach. You should have put the Wild in there, yeah. I understand the Rangers though. Makes sense because they have so many assets. The Kings make sense because they've got a lot of assets and they're not wanting to rebuild anymore. So that makes sense too. Yeah. The thing about that is I'm sure Buffalo would rather not trade Eichel to interdivision. But yeah, I mean Stützle. Straight across for Stützle. I think Stützle could be just as good as Eichel. Damn close. I don't know. I don't know what the best place to play player props and team totals. I was hoping somebody would tell me. I know I'm a capper. I should know that stuff, but on the Canadian sites I never find them. That's pretty interesting that he had a Type 5 and he took the Rangers. Yeah, I was just looking it up. Chicago. The Winnipeg Jets. Scheifele. Trade Dubois again. Yeah, Stützle he's sick, man. He's a sick man. In the draft, he was compared to Panarin because they thought he was going to be a winger in the NHL, but he does have that type of talent. He kind of reminds me of Eichel in a lot of ways, though. Yeah, they'd have to give up their first round next year, which might be something that Buffalo would be interested in because the year out, not this year, but next year's draft is just ridiculous. But I mean, they'd have to give up their whole team pretty much. I'd want Darcy Kemper right off the get go. And once you give up Darcy Kemper, then what's Arizona after that? I'd want like Darcy Kemper, Dvorak, stuff like that. Your first in 2019 or 2022. I mean, I think they'd end up having to give up half their team, and then it would just be Eichel. Wouldn't be a very good situation for Eichel. Or maybe they're Coyotes either. I think on about 15 minutes. I got to pick up my wife early today. I didn't put a parlay in for today, Jack. It's not a good parlay day. It's not really a good day, really, period. Those are tough games. Picking on the North Division is really tough right now. Top 5 rookies in the NHL this year? This year? Or just overall? Well, I guess it would be this year. Off the top of my head. Without looking. I'll probably end up looking, but I'll try to do it. Kaprizov. Lankinen. I'm not from PA. Are you trying to say PA? I'm not from PA. This year, yeah. Lankinen, Kaprizov are the first two that come to my head. Pius Suter, Ty Smith. Pius Suter, Ty Smith. And Stützle. There we go. We did it. That was easy. I don't think there's anybody better than that. I met her in Alberta here. She was living in, in the Philippines. Okay, you said PI, yeah. No, I didn't meet her in the Philippines, no. No, I met her here in Canada. She was already living here for a couple of years. Stützle, yeah. Yeah, that would be the top 5 right there. I can't think of any other rookies. Well, I mean, besides, we know Laugh's having a rough year. What other rookies are there this year? I haven't been to the Philippines yet, no. First, once the money starts flowing in for doing this fine programming, then I'll be going to the Philippines. I want to go see her family. Oh, you went to Indonesia? Oh, nice. Oh, I will go. I'll go eventually. I will. I won't. I don't want to live there, but I'll go there. It's too hot for me. Too hot for her too. She doesn't like the heat. Do I think if Doc would they be as good? Probably not. They probably wouldn't have got the opportunity that they have right now. Yeah. That's going to be, when they do come back, that's going to be a pretty stacked team though, right? Crazy. Imagine we thought, oh, they're going to miss the playoffs and all this stuff like this. What do we know? Telling you, though, that the Bowman brothers, or Bowman family, Stan Bowman was is going to be the general manager for the Olympics. I think it was the Olympics, or was it something like that? And not surprising. He'll probably get, I would say Stan Bowman gets the executive of the year this year. Because nobody saw that coming. Like, they kept it under their hat. Doc broke his arm. He should be back soon. Let's see if I can get any info on that. See if we can get some info on that. Kirby Doc. It says indefinitely. Oh my gosh. 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months. He buggered up that friggin' wrist bad. Holy crap. He must have snapped it right in two. I like Florida on the PL. I put it in reg. Doc is no timeline on Taves. He's whatever his fatigue issues are. Well, nobody knows. But Doc, apparently 4 to 5 months from the time he broke his, so like maybe the playoffs if you're lucky. I think Florida could definitely take that PL, but Detroit is playing really good defensively. What's starting goaltending? What do we got? We don't see they're always late. Usually when they're really late telling you what their goaltender is going to be, Bernier is going to play. But it doesn't really matter between the two of them, Bernier and Grice. They both seem to rock it every time they go in. So it hasn't been confirmed yet. It's Grice is projected, which doesn't mean anything. It just means not much really at all. So Lankinen is in for, no, who was, it's Chicago, right? No, not Chicago. Florida is Drigger. There's something to talk about. Drigger's taken over the #1 spot for now from Bobrovsky. So there's that. Top 5 teams that could pick up Tatar. Well, off the top of my head, Detroit Red Wings, because he played there before and they liked him. Anaheim Ducks. Are you talking about in a trade, though? In a trade before the year, it would have to be somebody that's looking to win now. Are they really? Second D? I don't know, because they have been letting a lot of goals in, so they can't score at all. Nashville, their main problem is they can't score, and bad goaltending. Letting bad goals in. Last night, actually, they had fluky goals in. Just weird goals. So not only are they bad, they're getting bad bounces on top of it. Yeah, that looks like a team that could be getting a very high draft pick this year. Tatar, where would Tatar go? Tatar. Where would Tatar go? A team that's in it that needs a forward. Calgary Flames. Hey, the Edmonton Oilers, New York Islanders, Boston Bruins would probably be calling about it, but I don't think they'd want to trade to Montreal. LA Kings would probably have some interest. That is the thing, right? If I'm Seattle, I'm looking at Drigger pretty closely because he's young. He kind of looks like the new Binnington. I don't know what they're gonna do there. I have no idea. That's like the good thing about it. They have Spencer Knight, so yeah, probably they'll be happy to just let Drigger go. They won't do anything. They could trade Drigger at the deadline if they're not in the playoff picture, but more than likely he's probably just going to go. I would say you're right there for sure. Drigger looks like a Seattle Kraken member at the end of this year, which would be great for him because it would get him out from under that whole Bobrovsky situation and give him a clean slate to be a number one. Molten Bull's gone. I mean, he's way on the bottom of that now. He's only in the bottom of Bob because Bob makes so much money, really. But they're rated second by who? How are they rated second? Oh, maybe it's by their actual defensemen, because that would be like they should be way better on as far as defense is concerned. Josie, Ekholm, Ellis. Josie, Ekholm, Ellis is a top four plus Fabry. They should be way better. It's really their goaltending that's their main problem. They've got Askarov coming back in a couple of years. And yeah, actually it's not just their goaltending. They're also just don't have much character on their front line. Top line. Duchesne apparently, like I said, I can't remember who. Something. O'Neill. It was a defenseman that played for Colorado. He also played for Tampa Bay. I can't remember his name, but he played with Duchesne and said he whined too much. And you get a whiny guy in your room and just ruins everything. Nice. Yeah, if you haven't subbed already, make sure you sub him. Josie, well, he won the Norris last year. I think McCarr's the best defenseman in. No, he's not the best defenseman. Hedman's the best defenseman in the NHL. He should get that every year. McCarr might take him over, but Hedman's the best. I can understand why they rated them so high, though, because their top four is pretty damn good on paper, anyways. What did they put number one? I guess it would be Tampa Bay. Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev. And what's his name? Message him again Steele gets really busy running the site. He gets focused on some things and then forgets what's going on. You got to remind him. Message him again. Am I going to be where? Kane's fourth. See, I think, okay, I didn't see who you put there. Vegas fifth for defense? No, that's, well, it could be. I'd have to really think about that, but Kane seemed low. I would put Kane's higher. Hamilton, Slavin, Pesci, Shea, Fleury, and I'm missing somebody. Gardner. It's a pretty damn good D-line. Okay, see you later. Steal from McDavid, okay. Yeah, you know what? I should probably let you guys go too. I'll see you Monday. My wife's got to get off early today. She's got to go get her COVID thing. So, thanks for coming in, everybody. It's friggin' awesome having you. It was nice having just this little conversation today. Monday, we'll have the weekend report. I don't know who's going to be on. There's a really special guest coming on soon, though. I'll tell you right now. Somebody who a lot of you probably know. It'll be very interesting when it happens. Go check out John. John's got lives all weekend. John, off the wall John. He's going to have lives all weekend. That's going to be freaking awesome. So make sure you check that out. Joe has got his live show. Colorado first. That makes sense. Yeah, for sure. McCarr. Have you seen what's his name playing for Colorado? Oh, freaking, like, yeah, they're definitely the best defense in the league, best offense in the league. Like I said, if they had Gibson, it would just be stupid. Oh yeah, I gotta get going, guys. It's been awesome talking to you. Have a great day. I'll see you Monday. I'll probably talk to you on John's stream and all that kind of stuff like that. Have a great day, everybody. Lots of love to you. Okay, bye.